Live Vision, Hump Day version of Black to Business. We're sitting here, and I hope you're eating something good. I hope you're on your lunch break, and I hope you enjoy your lunch break, because guess what? Every 12 noon on Wednesday is Black to Business, and I know you are here with us each and every Wednesday. And today, I have a very inspiring man, a man who's very motivational and very inspiring to us all. And he is the founder, chief executive officer, CEO of Son of a Saint. So I'm going to introduce to some and present to others Mr. Vivian Sonny Lee III. Brother Sonny,
how you doing? Oh, man, I'm awesome. I just got off a plane from New York, man. I spent 10 days out there connected. And my wife's actually from upstate New York, but it was fun. It was good. I'm glad to be home now.
Glad to be back home.
Absolutely.
This is the time to be back home.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, and I'm gonna just jump off into it. Who is Vivian Sonny Lee III? What is your education and business background? So tell us about that, and then also tell us about the trip you just came from.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I'll say I'm from New Orleans, New Orleans East. I went to Resurrection of Our Lord out in the East for elementary. Then I went to St. Aug, and then UNO. Now it's LSU, New Orleans, I guess. So I have to figure out how I'm going to say that one to people. But and then I went to Notre Dame to get my master's, but I did that later in life. I got my master's in nonprofit administration, which is the field I'm in, the industry. It's nonprofit. So I did not know that I was going to be necessarily in this as a profession. When I got out of college, I worked for the Saints. I worked in minor league baseball, the Zephyrs, Voodoo, if you remember that AAA, the arena football team. Worked in jazz, so bringing jazz education to communities around the world. So, really my 20s was just packed with amazing relationships, great experiences, and just I was learning, just how to navigate things. And when I was 29, was when I started Son of a Saint, and it's been 15 years of a lot of sweat, love, positives, challenges, but a lot of growth overall for me personally, for the boys in the program, and even for our supporters that give to us. So.
Okay. So, and I'm just going to get into
things. Absolutely.
How did you get the nickname of Sonny?
I'm the third Sonny. Unfortunately, my grandfather, I'm the third Vivian too, but unfortunately, my grandfather passed away when I was very young. My father was his only child. He was from Texas, actually, from Bastrop, Texas, right outside of Austin. And then he passed young. So I don't know where Sonny came from. I actually don't know where Vivian came from. My great grandfather was named William, but I don't have that connection, which is a unfortunate side, because a lot of my family passed away either before, like my grandmother before I was born, or when I was young and didn't have those questions answered. So
got it.
But we're keeping it going. I have a son, Vivian the Fourth. So he's about 14 months. I have a 12-year-old too, and I have a 14-month-old. He's Vivian the Fourth. Yeah.
Hey, keep it in the family.
Absolutely.
Keep Vivian going, and that would probably be the next Sonny.
Yeah.
And it's odd because my name is Edward Brian Smith, and most of the people call me Coulon, but my mama has always called me Brian.
Okay.
But now she calls me Sonny. And I'm like, all right, most people.
No.
So, hey, your name Brian or Sonny? I'm like, man, I'm Sonny to my mama. So,
right, exactly.
So that's one of those names that'll stick with you.
It'll stick with you.
Nobody really know where it came
exactly.
from.
Or you have other nicknames. You have other nicknames, and you know exactly where it comes from, right? Like you're in high school, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So where and when did you get the idea for Son of a Saint?
Yeah, so the idea from it came, like I said, when I was 29. It was right after the Saints game, and I was with my sister, and there was a boy that had murdered another boy, 2 lives destroyed. And I've told this story before, but it was right then when I felt like my life's experiences growing up without my dad, passing when I was 3 years old. He died of a heart attack. But all of that kind of came together, and I was like, action was the only response to that. I did some research, found out those boys did not have their fathers in their life. And so for me, it was, how do I duplicate what my mom, my aunt, my grandmother, my older sister, my mentors gave me? And literally it was just like, if we support boys on a preventative way before they get into these negative habits or reactions, then we can do some great for our community. And not only preventative, but long term. I mean, our boys are with us for, say like lifelong. My 20 boys been with me 15 years, called me yesterday. You know, I mean, they're very active, but that was kind of the spark. I actually did mentorship before that a couple years prior with a different organization. And it was like a pairing organization. You know, you pair a mentor with a boy.
Right.
I found some challenges with that. To be honest with you, I think they didn't pair me well with a kid that had maybe interests that I did, or vice versa. I was in sports. They picked somebody that didn't like sports. So I was like, you know, it was kind of odd. But I also wasn't equipped to handle all the challenges that young man had in his life. I was there to just kind of talk to him and, you know, answer some questions, but it's much, much deeper than that when you're working with a young man. You know, it's a whole family dynamic. There's education things, there's mental health, there's, you know, traumatic experiences. I mean, the family dynamic is so much that I wasn't trained on.
Right.
At the time. And so I needed that support. And I didn't really have that with that particular organization. So I decided to create that.
So, and I was a juvenile probation officer, certified for the city of Baton Rouge, Department of Juvenile Services for 20 plus years. And one of the things that I found out that we were working with juveniles that were quote unquote at risk, that had committed crimes or allegedly committed crimes, things of that nature, and was working with outside entities that was dealing with mentoring and stuff. A lot of those agencies did not want to deal with a young man that actually had some problems.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and if you're dealing with juveniles who have been arrested or have been put out of school, who are truant and things of that nature, that is not an easy person or easy, in particular, young man to deal with.
Correct.
Because what I found out during that was that most of the young men that are in the program are coming through the system, come from single parent households.
Right.
And most of those households are single parent mothers.
Right.
So it's hard for a mom to try to raise a young man. And then it's hard for other entities that do mentoring and things of that nature to actually work with that young man, because that's not where they come from, or that's not who they are.
Exactly.
So how do you deal with instances like that? And do you welcome young men who actually have some issues, have some problems? Because what we found out, and what I found out, is that those are the men who need the most help. Yeah. But are the ones who get the least.
Yeah. So that's actually a great question, and I'm glad you brought that up. One of the important, literally the model that we've created is for prevention, right? Like, it is a preventative thing. So we start at age 10. You can go down to age 7 or before if you want, right? For us, it's 10. That's when boys double digits. He starts to, you know, feel himself a little bit more. But you could also like do your assessments on him and sort of know where his weak points is, where his positives are, things like that, right? So we identified that as a start. So boys enter between the age of 10 and 12. A boy could have all F's. A boy could have all the challenges in the world. I mean, we have a lot of even high profile cases that people know we have their kids in our program, right? So it's not, you could have all A's though, right? It doesn't matter. The primary reason for a boy to be in Son of a Saint is that their father died or long-term incarceration. And 75% of our boys, roughly, their fathers were lost to violence, right? And with that, I mean, not only that, we've had a lot of, unfortunately, suicides, murder-suicide. Like, we have a lot of those things, right? About 20%, their fathers have 15 or more years left to serve, okay? So most of them have life. But we chose to deal with that group because the boys will not have their fathers in their lives, right? It's sort of like the boys that we know, and I will say this, for capacity reasons, we can't take every boy in New Orleans. It's just not possible, right? If we were to to take boys age 10 to 18 or 17, 16 even, right? And all of the, willful neglect cases, dad's not around, but mom's saying dad's not around, but his dad not around.
Right.
And let me tell you, from an organizational standpoint, that becomes a major, major challenge because you have so many different people involved and a team, especially a case team, they need stability. They need to know what's going on, things like that to be able to help out. Right. And so for us, that is the most, those are the two basic reasons. Your age 10 to 12 and your father's those situations. And you have one person in your family, usually a mom, an aunt, or older sister, or whatever, that is responsive.
Right.
I'm not asking the mom to be the best, you don't have to be just show up, answer the phone when we call, trust us, show some level of participation in it, right? We're gonna do the rest. Your boy will 8-9 times out of 10 have a great outcome. Not say 10 out of 10 basically compared to what maybe the alternative would be, right? For a kid that's maybe 16 or 15 or 14 that's already in the system, right? That is a little bit more difficult for us. That does not mean that we don't share resources. It's just that the 300 young men that we have in our program right now, if that's been through Son of a Saint for a 14-year-old, maybe for 4 years, maybe a 16-year-old for 6 years, that could be a little disruptive to the cohort of 300. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's just our model because we've decided to work on prevention on that side. There's other groups that are opposite, and we want to partner with them as well, and we do. And so that's sort of our process, I guess, to answer your question.
So with the 300, what is the staff to client ratio?
Yeah, so every boy has a case team. So when a boy enters, when he's 10, he's assigned to a case team. We have 4 different case teams. Each case team has about 4 or 5 people in it, right? So each boy gets a case manager that looks after him and the whole family, kind of, first line right there.
Right.
They have a mental health specialist, this is all in-house. They have an education coordinator, success coach. So tutoring, depending on what age, it might be internships because they follow them all the way through this case team.
So y'all have a
holistic approach. You have a mentor. And a lot of people know us from just like being a mentor group, but it's much more than mentorship. So they have a mentor. And then they have about, honestly, probably 40 activities a month, 30 to 40 activities a month that they can choose from, whether it be equine therapy, horseback riding, comedy club, cooking, sailing, craftsman, art, like all of these different things, just the how-to type things as well. And those are summer camps. We send a bunch of kids over, about 150 kids to summer camps across the country. We do that because when I was a mentor, I didn't know what to do with my kid. He didn't like sports, that specific thing. And I was like, let's make it easy on the mentor and like provide all of these opportunities, right? So they don't have to come out of pocket for a lot of things. They're kicking engaged with the other boys in the program, right? So that's why all those activities kind of came together. So when you look at one boy, you've got about 4 or 5 people that are supporting that one particular boy. Now, that case team, the max on the case team is roughly about 65 boys, 70 boys that could be a part of that case team, that caseload. And based off of that, you might have 15 that take up all the time, you know what I mean? Because they're the toughest situations. Then you got that middle group. And then you have those that maybe a little easier because of the work, but we know that it could change at any moment. If you exactly, and you want to maintain that all the way through and really just maximize. You don't want them to feel neglected, and you just want to, really make sure that they're maximizing their potential. All of our boys, and there's a lot of challenges at school, and we have a great program director, Walter Bridges, who was a former assistant principal who understands the school system, understands that the advocacy side of it, and when our kids are not being treated well, even from the school perspective, right? And so that's very helpful for me. I've never been in the education system, and so sort of as a teacher or anything like that. So it's good to have that and a lot of our case team are former teachers as well that know that they can do more outside of the classroom for the boys.
Right. So if you want to talk to Brother Sonny, you can phone in, dial in, call in at 504-582-9422. The phone lines are open. Brother Sonny, do y'all have any special needs boys
Absolutely.
that are in the program?
Yeah, about 13% of our boys are special needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and can you tell the listening audience how a young man can get involved in the program, or how they themselves can become a volunteer?
Yeah,
of
sure.
Something of that nature with the program.
Yeah, so I'll start from a boy. We actually opened up the applications around August. We opened it up for about 2 or 3 months. That's really the time that a teacher or a mom or anybody or an uncle or whoever, grandfather, can sign that particular boy into study. It's an application process.
Okay.
It's free. Everything in Son of a Saint is free to the families and all that.
Say that once again, please. Say
everything's free.
Now, that free 99.
Free 99. We've never charged $1 in 15 years. Oh, we've given a lot financially and scholarships.
So the things that a young man can get from Son of a Saint, although it's free to get in, but it's priceless as to the stuff.
It is priceless, yeah. So we have about 100 applicants a year, and our team does the interviews with the family just to make sure it's a good fit. And we usually take around 50 just because it costs money for us to be able to do this. That's why I was in New York, fundraising. Got to raise some money. But the boys that may not make it in, maybe it wasn't a good fit, maybe there was a challenge, maybe they answered some questions wrong that were required from us. And maybe the boy was 10 years old and he has the opportunity to come back next year, right, when he's 11, because you can join between 10 and 12, right? So maybe just it didn't work capacity-wise for us that particular year. So that's the application. For a mentor or volunteer, women can volunteer too. We have actually a lot of women that volunteer for us at events. We also have a lot of women drivers too. Man, you're in a car for an hour with a kid. That's that's a lot of mentoring you can give. We provide about 15,000 rides a year to our kids, and so there's volunteer drivers, activities. Women can also lead activities, whatever their interests may be. They can lead our boys, and so they would just go on our website and sign up. And then the mentors obviously are male, and the direct mentorship is there.
Got it. So I saw online, this beautiful building that you guys have.
Yeah.
Can you tell us where it's located, and can you tell us something about the building?
Yeah, so the building is it's 100 and roughly 20-year-old ice house, and it's in Mid-City. It's a block behind Crest City Steakhouse off of Broad. And when I first went in the building, it was 2017. There was an advertising company that was in there, and I was getting an auction item for our gala. And I walked in, and I was just like, man, this thing feels so good. You know what I mean? It was it was old. It had great bones. It was, but they hadn't really developed it out, And so we started renting space, 300 square feet, blah, blah, blah. And we wound up buying it during COVID because they moved out and they sold it to us, and we did a 2-3 year campaign to renovate it, and that's what we did. So we moved in a few years ago, and I'm telling you, it is the best thing that could have happened to Son of a Saint because we own it outright. We don't own anything on it. It's a home for our boys, and we have other aspirations of duplicating that in other parts of the city.
Okay. Yep. So, and speaking of that, can you tell us something about your sponsors, who they are, and how can sponsors get involved as well, and how can they contact you so they can come with them big old dollars?
There you go.
If you got a rich uncle that lives in Africa, how they can contact you as well.
Yeah, so we have a lot of great supporters and sponsors from family foundations, individuals, also businesses, right? Small businesses. And we don't get a lot of the like federal funding. We do get some grants. We get some city support from the city council. The mayor's been actually a good friend of ours, but that's really how we package all this together. What we're really focusing on now is the recurring support, the monthly recurring support, whether it be $5, $10, $15, $50, whatever it is, 500, who knows, because that can provide a level of predictability for us. Because we say we're going to be on our boys' lives for the long haul, right? And so we're asking for that commitment from a lot of our supporters, and so that's really how we make it all work. So, and we have events throughout the year too. And some coming up as well, like the Give NOLA Day, which is early May. It's a big day of giving and stuff like that. So,
yep. And you did speak of the Son of a Saint Gala.
Oh yeah, the gala. The gala.
How they can get their tickets.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, I keep trying to grow it. The venue. It's at the Four Seasons. They partner with us on it, and it's bounced around the city a few times, but we found a great home there. Capacity-wise, we just kind of keep growing it, but that is November 21st. Tickets are not out yet. We probably won't do that until midsummer or into summer. But it's a great event. It's a black tie event, and individuals could come and sponsorships. We always seek those, so that's a great one. We're having a men's dinner. And a women's luncheon too, so look out for that on our website. That's going to be coming up soon.
So we definitely need to do something with that, because the day before is the New Orleans Region Black Chamber of Commerce Crescent City Golf Classic
on the 20th.
Zoe Bartholomew.
Oh, good.
That's always
yeah,
Friday
I like
before
that.
So
okay, all right.
We can possibly talk.
Yeah, I love that. Okay,
make something happen.
Yeah.
So we can have a good partnership. And
Sounds good.
With the both
Sounds good.
So I'm looking at the clock. We got about 5 minutes left. So anybody want to call in, dial in, phone in 504-582-9422. I know we have several different things, but can you tell me and enlighten us and the listening audience, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face personally and professionally, and how do you keep going and get past that?
So I think personally, and this is a great thing. There's so many people, I think, that see our work and want to be involved. For me personally, I prioritize my family, my home, my family at Son of a Saint, my staff and stuff, and our boys. For me, sometimes it could be hard to have the depth of relationship with people that I genuinely want or can have. So that's just a personal thing. That's been happening for a long time as we've grown. I think also, as our boys get older into the, I said my oldest is 26, so that, we're there. We actually hired an alumni specialist to focus on a lot of their sort of needs.
Right.
But, they think they're grown, right?
Yeah.
They are grown.
To the mixer, I saw a lot of the alumni that were there. Helping with the various things that were going on at the mixer.
They are, but I get the first 50 boys are my boys, right? The first 5 years, it was mine. Those I directly mentored them. I picked them up all over, everywhere. But there are certain challenges that come up in their own lives that I have to advise them. Like going to somebody else is not going to hit the same unless it comes from me or the 1 or 2 people that were with me at that time, adults. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a challenge sometimes if, and because they need that attention. And I got to give them that attention. So it's really just allocating time and attention can be a challenge. Okay. I think that was one of your questions, right? Yeah.
So, and as we close out, I did get a text from Will. Y'all got a block party.
Oh, yeah, block party. Yep.
Can you tell us about that and how we can get involved with that and be
absolutely. There? So it is May 9th. It is a Saturday. We turned 15 this year, so it's our 15th celebration. It's going to be actually outside of our building. It's a block party.
Okay.
And it's free to everybody. So anybody who's participated in Son of a Saint in the last 15 years, had a boy involved, had a student involved, a child, a partner or those who want to become involved, I invite everybody to come out. I think I'm in a dunk tank or something like that. They got me in there, and I don't know what that's about. I heard before I was leaving the office. So, but we'll have music, food, a lot of activities for kids. It'll just be a fun time.
But you do have to RSVP, correct?
Yes, we actually need an RSVP, so we just kind of know who's coming.
okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, we prefer that. You can drop on in. We're not gonna tell anybody no, but we prefer if you
Y'all not gonna turn
RSVP.
anybody around.
No. I mean, it's a block party. It's open. You'll come out and enjoy and have fun with us.
All right, so if you want to be a member of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce, you can contact yours truly, Edward B. Coulon Smith, at 504-343-1138 or at norbcc.chairman2025@gmail.com. This comes to the conclusion of today's show, but next week, guess what? Our guest for next week was none other than Michelle O'Connor. She's going to bless us with her presence, and she will be on the air. Brother Sonny, as we close out, do you have any last words for the listening audience?
First of all, I appreciate this, but if you love New Orleans, invest in its future, and that's our motto. So hopefully you invest in Son of a Saint.
There it is. And yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why it's called present. Enjoy the gift. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Good day, and God bless, and enjoy your Jazz Fest.
There you go.
Time, people.
Absolutely.
See you next week. Thank y'all.